We've been having a lot of fun this month, maybe a little bit too much fun today, but we've been having a lot of fun this month with all the different things that have been going on in our church as we've been looking at the gospel themes found in some of our favorite Christmas movies to the series we're calling Real Christmas. And so it's probably no surprise that Elf is among my favorite Christmas movies. It's bothersome, though, that last year this movie celebrated its 20th anniversary, which is unbelievable. Like, to my kids, this movie might as well be in black and white. You know what I mean? Like, it's that old that it was from the early 2000s. And but it's a classic. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see it. It's currently on Max, which is HBO's streaming service. If you want to find it somewhere where you can stream it, we'll get a flavor today of this awesome film. But it's just so much fun and celebrates the joy of the season. It celebrates the joy of Christmas. But the premise of the movie is that Will Ferrell plays a character named Buddy the Elf, who is a human, but ends up being raised by elves in the North Pole in Santa's home, and then has a journey of self-discovery. But even though he's not really an elf, he is the embodiment of all the things that an elf is supposed to be. They have the Code of Elves discussed in the movie, which has 3 general rules of the Code of Elves, which is treat every day like it's Christmas. There's room for everyone on the nice list. The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. That is the Code of Elves, and even though Buddy is an elf himself, he lives out all 3 of those all of the time. But he begins to discover that when you're not really an elf, doing the things that elves are expected and supposed to do can be really tough. Like, he's twice the size of everybody there, and nothing is built for people his size. And his toy-making acumen isn't exactly like his friends. And eventually, these issues lead him on a journey of self-discovery. Let's see what happens.
I hate to do this to you, but you think you can help me pick up the slack on those Etch-a-Sketches?
No problem.
I appreciate it. Buddy is killing me. I already got Lum Lum and Choo Choo pulling doubles.
It's quick thinking yesterday with that special talents thing.
I feel bad for the guy. I just hope he doesn't get wise.
Well, if he hasn't figured out he's a human by now, I don't think he ever will. If he hasn't figured out he's a human by now, I don't think he ever will.
I think they're too small.
Just spec.
You don't look so good, buddy. Are you okay?
I'll be okay. I just need a glass of water.
Buddy.
So everything that Buddy thought he knew isn't really the way that it actually has turned out. He thought he knew who he was. He thought he knew who his family was, but turns out it's not exactly as he thought it was going to be. And so this eventually leads him to want to find out more about himself and more about his life. He's able to rebound because the spirit of an elf is so deep within him, and the joy that he has can't be stopped by whatever circumstance that he has. But he still wants to discover more, and so it ends up leading him on a journey to New York City, where he learns that that's where his dad is, and he wants to meet his dad, and he actually is able to get there. He journeys by foot from the North Pole to New York City. Somehow he ends up making it, and is living his elf life, but now in New York City, and finds out that his dad works in one of the most famous buildings in all of New York City and pays him a visit. Let's see it.
Sorry I can't ride with you the rest of the way up, but this is where my dad works. Well, have a good time. Oh, I forgot to give you a hug.
Oh, I don't know, Connie. I've never declawed kittens before. How many? 8? I don't know if I'm going to have time. Well, all right. Just bring them by the camper this week, and I'll see what I can do. I'm not going to charge you. Just bring them by, and I'll see what I can do.
Excuse me. I'm here to see a Walter Hobbs. I'm Buddy the Elf.
You look hilarious. Who sent you?
Papa Elf.
Papa Elf?
From the North Pole.
From the North Pole?
Yes.
So you really think we should ship him?
No, I think we should take a $30,000 bath so some kid can understand what happened to a puppy and a friggin' pigeon. Ship him. Yeah,
Mr. Hobbs? It's me on the intercom.
go ahead.
Yeah, I think someone sent you a Christmasgram.
Dad!
All right, let's get it over with.
I walked all day and night to find you.
You look like you came from the North Pole.
That's exactly where I came from. Santa must have called you.
Oh, yeah, sure. He just got off the cell phone with me.
You did?
So, go on.
Go on with what?
Well, are you going to sing a song or something, or can I just go back to work?
A song? Yeah. Anything for you, Dad. I'm here with my dad, and we never met, and he wants me to sing him a song. And I was adopted, but you didn't know I was born. So I'm here now. I found you, Daddy. And guess what? I love you. I love you. I love you.
Wow, that was weird. Usually guys just, put my name in the jingle bells or something.
It's me, your son. Susan Wells had me, and she didn't tell you, but now I'm here. It's me, Buddy.
Susan Wells. You said Susan Wells?
Yes.
Who sent this Christmasgram?
What's a Christmasgram? I want one.
I think we should call security.
Good idea.
I like to whisper, too. It's okay, Walter's my father.
Well, your dad's busy right now.
Okay, I'll come back later.
Yeah, you're not going to come back for a while, okay? You're going to go back to Santa Land.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you go back to Gimbals?
Not exactly the encounter that Buddy was hoping for when he walked into the Empire State Building. And this would be crushing for anybody. I don't know, your life probably hasn't looked even a little bit like Buddy's, but I'll bet you there's been something in your life that you were feeling great about, that you were hopeful about, only to be crushed by the reality of the situation. To feel joy in your life because something good has happened, only to have it followed by something that really, really hurt you. Or to be disappointed by news that you received. We all know what this feels like, to have it feel like our joy has been robbed from us, that our joy has been crushed, that it's been suppressed. And I think this often makes us cautious with joy. It's one of the reasons we can be cautious with it, because it feels like life can take it from us very quickly. And so if I share it too much, then I don't want to end up sad. I don't want to end up disappointed. I don't want to end up looking foolish because I was happy about something only to learn that thing was kind of a lie. But what if joy didn't have to be dependent upon our circumstances? What if there was something that could fill us with joy all of the time, not dependent upon our life situation or upon our circumstances? But if we want then our joy to be permanent, then the source of our joy must then be permanent as well. And what I mean by that is that we all have different sources of joy. You have sources of joy in your life that might not bring me joy, but we all have them. Like maybe for you, a source of joy for you is golf, or a source of joy for you is NASCAR, some other sport, or maybe a source of joy for you is your family or your work, or fill in the blank with whatever it is that excites you and makes you feel joyful. The reality of those sources of joy is they're legitimate. I'm glad that those things bring you joy in your life. The problem is that those things eventually will fail us. Something that we love to do will break. Our family will not live as we hope that they would live, will not always treat us the way that we want. Our job will not always end up working out the way that we want it to. Answer that question for yourself of what is that source of joy and how could that thing inevitably fail me at some point? And if that's going to happen, then my joy is going to be lost, or joy has to be found in something permanent. In the midst of these ups and downs, we long for something to maintain our sense of joy and passion and excitement and purpose in the middle of everything. Well, the good news is this. The good news is that joy is attainable. And not only is that joy attainable, but that joy has come to us. This joy has come to us, a joy that can't be contained or it can't be stolen from us, because we can find this joy in Jesus. It's a joy so powerful that we feel it thousands of years after, and it was actually felt hundreds and thousands of years before the birth of Jesus. The prophet Isaiah said this long before the birth of Christ. Surely God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. The Lord himself is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation. In that day you will say, give praise to the Lord, proclaim his name, make known among the nations what he has done, and proclaim that his name is exalted. Sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things. Let this be known to all the world. Shout aloud and sing for joy, people of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel among you. So Isaiah says, with joy, God will bring water from the wells of salvation. And with joy, then, God is sending Jesus. This is how God is drawing water from the wells of salvation, ultimately through his son, Jesus. And God sends Jesus with joy. And so what is the response to God bringing about salvation, bringing about water from the wells of salvation? What's the response of the people according to Isaiah? The response is song. It's music. It's singing. This is how people are answering the saving action of God's grace. And I think you recognize that it's not a far leap to go from joy to song. I'll bet when you are in a joyful, happy mood, you are far more likely to sing along with the radio than when you are not. We sing when we feel joyful. It's a way that this happiness just bubbles up from within us. It's a way that we can express it beyond just our words, even beyond our actions. Music and singing speaks in a way that maybe nothing else does. And we sing then because of the works that God has done. And this salvation that God is bringing about and has brought about through Jesus can't be taken away. It can't be stopped. It can't be contained. There's nothing that can stop it. God is with us permanently, forever, now and forever. This news brought a song to Isaiah's heart that he writes about hundreds of years before it happened. This news brings song to the heart of Zechariah in our Christmas story. It brings song to the lips of Mary when she finds out this news. Because it's not just happiness, but it's joy that springs up from within us. So when Isaiah says, sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things, let this be known to all the world, the Buddy the Elf version of that translation might be, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. See, Buddy's singing never stops. You would think that it would. His whole life as an elf has been a lie. And then he meets what he thinks is going to be a new source of joy, a relationship with his dad, and it doesn't shake out the way that he thinks it will. But his singing never stops, and his joy never stops. And so he has to live a life as an elf now in New York City. And as he's figuring that out, he creates new relationships with new people. And in fact, he meets a new friend named Jovi while at a mall, and he wants to share this joy with her, and the joy of singing that just bubbles up out of somebody when they have true and real joy of Christmas. Let's see what happens.
Are you enjoying the view?
You are very good at decorating that tree.
Why are you messing with me? Did Crumpet put you up to this?
I'm not messing with you. It's just nice to meet another human who shares my affinity for elf culture.
I'm just trying to get through the holidays.
Get through? Christmas is the greatest day in the whole wide world.
Please stop talking to me.
Uh-oh. Sounds like someone needs to sing a Christmas carol.
No way.
Best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Thanks, but I don't sing.
Oh, it's easy. It's just like talking, except louder and longer, and you move your voice up and down.
I can sing, but I just choose not to sing, especially in front of other people.
Well, if you sing alone, you can sing in front of other people. There's no difference.
Actually, there's a big difference.
No, there isn't. Wait. I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing.
Hey! There's no singing in the North Pole.
Yes, there is.
No, it's not.
We sing all the time.
No, it's not.
Especially when we make toys. See?
Attention all Gimbal shoppers, please make your final purchases. We'll be closing in 10 minutes.
Well, it's time for me to go home.
But Santa's coming. There's so much to do.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
Buddy.
Joey.
Hi.
So as I was preparing this message and thinking about joy and trying to take this movie and something that's trivial and fun and we laugh at and maybe forget about some of the things that bring us down and we can just enjoy and laugh and watch a movie, but then try and take that and make it real and make it applicable. I was thinking about what makes Buddy so ridiculous, right? Like what makes it seem silly? What makes it funny other than the fact that, of course, the things that he says and does can be funny? Why his whole way of life seems ridiculous to us is because it's childish. It's infantile, right? To walk around and jump around and do all the things that Buddy does, it's childish. And that's why we think that it's silly, because we recognize that people don't actually act like that and people don't actually live like that. And yet, isn't it funny that every single one of us would sit here and say, I want some kind of happiness or some kind of joy in my life that supersedes my other emotions, that supersedes my other way of being, that supersedes my circumstance. I want that kind of joy. And yet we've all societally and culturally agreed that we can't actually act that way. That when it happens, we need to quit because it's ridiculous and we need to be taken more seriously than that. What a backwards way of thinking, that it's like we all want this thing, but you can't just walk around being happy all the time. If you do, there's something wrong with you. That's not how we behave as adults. We can't do that. It's crazy because our culture has seen joy. Eventually, joy is seen as a weakness. And yet, God says in our scriptures that the joy of the Lord is our strength. And so where's the breakdown between when joy is a weakness that is weird and off-putting versus joy as an enviable existence and an enviable lifestyle? And it's funny, too, because I think Christians often, from a perception standpoint, can lead the way in this sort of Grinchy behavior that's like we can't all be too happy because of the perception that Christians are often focused on what's wrong, right? We're focused on what's wrong and what's the matter, and especially what's wrong with other people, instead of doing more to celebrate the good things that God has done, as Isaiah talks about, to proclaim that his name is exalted because he has done great things. And to take the irony of that further, that we feel that joy can often be too childish or too infantile, that we need to suppress it, or at least we can only express it to a certain degree before it becomes a negative attribute. Because we need to be taken seriously. Now, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of God. How difficult was it for people to take a baby seriously as the Messiah of the world? We think that joy is too infantile or too childish, and yet God came as a literal baby. God came as a child. How could you take that seriously? That's not the Messiah that you expect. How is this baby going to save the world? And yet joy came to us as a child, as a baby. If becoming a child is not too childlike for God, then there is no joy too childlike for you, and there is no joy too childlike for God. Upon the arrival of this baby, joy sprang out everywhere. The angels sang, the shepherds ran to their friends, the magi traveled from far, all foolish things that would be looked at as crazy. And yet we've been singing ever since. And we've been praising ever since. Because this joy is infectious, and without it, I think the appeal of a relationship with Jesus and the good news of Jesus coming is lost a little bit. If we have peace and we have hope and we have love, those are all good things. But if joy is not present in the midst of all those, we're missing out. It's incomplete. And I think we all know that if we feel this joy, that it grows, other people begin to experience it for themselves as well. And when other people around you are feeling joyful, you are able to empathically share that joy alongside of them. Joy is infectious. And we see this in the film when Buddy shows us how persistent he is in his joy. It doesn't matter that his dad has rejected him, that he has a new friend that doesn't seem to get along with what he's trying to put out there. He keeps sharing joy. And eventually it pays off, because in the film on Christmas Eve, Santa has crash landed in Central Park. And the problem with the sleigh is that it can't fly unless there's more Christmas spirit. Christmas spirit is dying, and Santa needs more Christmas spirit in order to fly the sleigh and get the job done on Christmas Eve. And so, inspired by Buddy, Jovi does something brave. Check it out.
You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Buddy! We need power! We're gonna crash!
He's making a list, checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town.
He sees you when you're sleeping.
He knows when you're awake.
He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out.
You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
I'm getting too old for this job.
Now!
The engine's gone! We're toast!
Well, still no sign of Santa, but some spontaneous Christmas caroling has broken out right here in front of Central Park. Let's have a listen in.
When you're sleeping, he knows if you're awake.
He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. You better not pout, I'm telling you why.
Santa Claus is coming to town. Just a little more!
What's the big deal?
Dad?
Santa Claus is coming to town.
How many of you have had that conversation in church with the person standing next to you? You're not really singing. I think one of my favorite things about that clip is when they cut to the different people watching the TV, and there's like a girl who's no older than 7 with a TV in her room. She's watching the news. Like, what's 7 years? They probably exist. I just always find that to be very strange. But it took an exuberant joy to save the day. And what if your life was marked by joy? I think too, a powerful element of that clip is that James Caan, who's Buddy's dad, his wife, is the second one to start singing with Jovi, and it's hard to listen to, isn't it? Her voice was a little scratchy, and yet she was brave enough to do it because it didn't matter. That's not what mattered. That's not even what was needed to help Santa Claus finish the job on Christmas Eve. She was bold enough because her life was marked with joy that she could do it. None of the rest of that mattered. And so often we're afraid to become undignified with our joy because of how we're going to be seen or because of how it might be taken away from us or whatever our excuses are. But what if our life was marked with joy? If our life itself was a Christmas carol, shouting for joy, that you know a joy and a love and a hope greater than anything else that you've encountered, a joy that isn't bothered by the bad things that happen in our world because we recognize the good things that God has done and is doing and will do. What if the church was marked by the same joy? What if the church was fun? What if the church was seen as a place where you can go and experience joy in the middle of your dark path? How much more would our faith mean to ourselves if it was a source of joy for us and not a source of duty or just a source of peace, but a source also of joy? How much more compelling would a relationship with Jesus look like to those who don't know him if they just met followers of Jesus who just were marked with the spirit of joy all of the time, no matter what was going on, and not in an inauthentic and fake kind of way, but a real, deep-seated and deep-rooted joy? How much better could the world become if we were a people known for our joy and we spread joy because we know who Jesus is, because we know the true source of our joy that can't be stopped in the middle of any season? A joy that has come to us and has brought good things and good news for all. We can be a people of joy, knowing that the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. And one of the ways that we can spread joy practically, beyond walking around